Mic'd Up.
Welcome, everybody. Don the T Florida's Mic'd Up. I am John Reger, PGA broadcaster, and your host of this segment called Wild Bill's Golf Weather, coming to you from the Sea Dog Brewing Company, St. Augustine studio. Hey, this week it's the Masters, and not only will we hear about the weather forecast, which always plays an integral part in the outcome of this tournament, we will also include some banter about the fantastic Masters Fair and some special swag that we will share. Welcome to our On the Tee Florida Mic'd Up Weather Report, duplicated by not other people, only by Wild Bill Stereau. Welcome, Bill.
Woohoo! How are we doing there, Coach?
Well, give it to us. What's going to happen up there? What's going to happen in Augusta on the weather? Because we know it does. Every year something wild happens, and this is perfect for Wild Bill Stereau to tell us about what wild happenings are going to happen at the weather at this year's Masters.
Absolutely is Master Weeks, John. And when in Augusta, we got to dress appropriately. Got my hats on, got my swag on. So this week's Wild Bill Golf Weather Report is coming to you live from the Masters, remotely. Once again, when in Augusta, we're going to wear our swag. The Masters historically is held in April, except for COVID year in which the tournament was held in November due to the pandemic. Historically, the Masters weather has been very unpredictable, ranging from freezing cold to scorching heat, with over 50% of the past tournaments experiencing rain. The coldest Masters ever, just for history, was in 2007 with an average temperature of 48 degrees. Ooh, that was chilly. While in 2011 was the warmest average temperature of 86 degrees. The wettest Masters to date was in 1936 when they dropped 3.23 inches of rain in Augusta over the 4 days. Interestingly, though, only 5 Master tournaments has had to finish on Monday due to bad inclement weather. This year, however, the weather is looking pretty good there, John. Looks like they're going to have to water all those azaleas and all those other fancy special flowers and trees to keep them looking good as they do. On Thursday, the first tournament round day, it appears there's going to be a chilly start of temps in the 40s at the honorary starter ceremony, which usually starts around 7:30 in the morning. The first tournament round will continue with a partly sunny skies as the chilly temperatures move up slowly to the 70s, with skies advancing to more sun as the day moves on. The second day tournament round, or as I like to call it, cutting day, just putting that out there, you guys, in case somebody wants to use that term, skies will start out nice and sunny with temps in the high 40s to 50s, with a high in the mid 70s as some of the clouds start to move in the afternoon. On moving day, Saturday, will bring us more sunshine and not a cloud in the sky. Temperatures will also be moving up to start the morning with temps in the mid 50s and advancing up to the 80s as Augusta heats up, as well as the competition as the players will try to position themselves for Championship Sunday, which will also bring us a beautiful sunny Sunday with morning temps starting in the low 60s and advancing up to the 80s as we get closer to the 2026 Masters champion. All week long, precipitation chances or rain are near zero, and all of which looks to be a beautiful week for both the players and the patrons. Remember, we can't say spectators. It's patrons or the gallery for this year's Masters tournament. There you go, John. That's Wild Bill's Golf Weather Report coming to you from Augusta remotely.
Well, Bill, you made a couple mentions in your golf weather report from the Masters, and one of the things is about the azaleas. And a few years back, I had the privilege and opportunity to be the general manager and director of instruction down at Adena as we opened the club up down in Ocala. And our golf course superintendent was the number 2 superintendent at Augusta National, who
That's pretty
moved
nice.
down to Ocala. His family was from Ocala, and he maintained Adena like Augusta National, and I learned so much. But one of the things I learned that he was telling me that they want those azaleas to bloom just right, and sometimes based on the weather, they actually have to throw ice in the beds to make sure that it just keeps it just at the right temperature to be able to keep those azaleas hitting the peak bloom at the Masters. So just that attention to detail is really something. Hey, but also, one of the things about the Masters, and this is something we want to talk about, not only are we talking about the history of the weather at the Masters and what's coming up on the golf weather this week, but Wild Bill, you actually have a lot of interest in some of the things like I do about the Masters, like everybody does. One of the things is about the fare, the food. They don't charge as much at the Masters for concessions like they do. If you went to a Major League Baseball stadium, you had a chicken sandwich and a beer, it costs you $54. But when you go to the Masters, a chicken sandwich and a beer might be $7 total. I
Yeah,
mean, it's pretty incredible.
I think
So
last time I was there, beers were like $2.50 or something like that versus Waste Management. They're like $30.
well, that's exactly right. So, hey, one of the things I want to talk about is: have you ever prepared some of the Masters fare? Do you for example, we're all sitting at home and we're thinking about it's Masters Sunday. Is there anything you've ever prepared that's right off that menu, doing your home cooking there?
I have tried to make the pimento cheese sandwich, okay, and I don't know if it was as good, but as far as I'm concerned, it was close, so that was good enough.
Well, I want to have a mention about pimento cheese. I just so happen to have loaded up
Ooh, look at
with
that.
the palmetto
That-
pimento cheese.
Look at
And you know
that.
what I did? I just decided I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait till Sunday. I'm going to have a bite of my pimento
And I'm
cheese
going to
sandwich
toast to
right
that.
here. Right
Look
here.
at
Here we
that.
go. Oh, man.
I can
And
almost
I'm going to
taste
wash
it
it
the
down
stream, John.
with the beverage. I won't tell you what it is, in my Master's cup
And our
that I
water
got at
bottles.
Augusta. So, but one of the things is about, let me swig this down.
That's a mouthful there, John.
But one of the things I've learned, especially like this cup and some other stuff, it's all about the swag at Augusta. And you can only buy things in the golf shop and bring them home. Now, there are some piraters out there that go and they buy some stuff, and the Masters really frowns on that. But truly, if you have something that's got a Masters logo on it, you had to be there to get it, or you had somebody that was a patron that got it for you. But one of the fun things about it is the swag. So I'm going to show you one piece of swag I have. And Bill, you have got a great swag collection. Now, for our viewers out there, right behind me, next to my Caddyshack Gopher, is I've got one of the Masters banners. I'm getting ready to stick that out front, put it on the flag stick. Another thing I ended up with is when I went to the Masters the first time, not the first time, this is like the third time, but you can take your ticket and you can put it into a frame if you want to, stick it on the wall. And even you can come home with a flag, like a Masters flag. So there's all kinds of fun swag that people have. You get a golf ball. In fact, 7 kids. Now we got grandkids on the way. We have to give them one of these Masters mini golf clubs here. Junior's first golf club and stuff like that. But Bill, your Masters swag collection is really pretty cool. I'd like to hear about some of that stuff.
Well, the first year I went to the Masters was in 2002, and I ended up getting a hat there. And I got a couple other things, but that was my hat from 2002. Okay. And unfortunately, I don't have the ticket there because back then we used to be able to buy them off the street. Okay. Then I got a 2004 hat when Mickelson won. Okay. I've also gotten my Tilly hat with the Masters logo on it. This is one of my favorite hats to wear during the Masters. In fact, I'll put that one on right now. All right.
Those Tilly hats. I used to have a Tilly hat, and they used to have a guarantee if you ever lost your Tilly hat, they would send you another one.
Yep.
But I don't know. Well, I don't know if they'll
That could
send
be
you
hard to
a
replace.
Masters Tilly hat.
That could be hard to replace. Those are few and far between. I've also, the one year I was there, I got one of the 2004 commemorative pins, which is hard to find. And then, of course, you get the cigar holder and the ball markers, the pack of ball markers, and even the keychain. And I was lucky enough to score a spectator guide, which gives the map out of everything like that. It's pretty interesting. And then here,
Bill, it
John.
reminds me of the time, one of the times I was at the Masters, you go to, they call it the outdoor golf shop.
Yep.
But now it's pretty fancy. It's indoors, but they still call it the outdoor golf shop. And a friend of mine, John Johnson, PGA golf professional, he used to be the assistant pro there at Augusta. And throughout the years, he would come back every year to help out in that outdoor golf shop. Last couple of years, he was in charge of packages where if you could buy all that stuff. And after you're done, you could take that stuff and you could give it to his team. And then they would go ahead and ship it home for you.
There you
And
go.
at the end of the day, a big fleet of UPS trucks would roll in. And I asked him, I said, well, how many packages a day did you ship UPS back? He goes, about 8,000 a day
That's a
of
lot.
stuff. And I can see why now, because I was standing in line. It's like a super Walmart, man. They've got like aisle after aisle after aisle to check out. And they had one year I went, they had like the prices on the cash registers, people ringing them up and everything, get to their total. And everywhere you look, $1,200 here, $2,000 there, $4,000 there. I mean, nobody bought a ball marker for 1995. I mean, it was just all you just get so caught up in it. You have to buy all that stuff.
Well, I'm going to show you something unique that you don't see very often. Here is a practice putting cup from the Masters.
Oh
Look
man,
at that. Made out of pewter. We actually practice and putt into this, which is pretty interesting. However,
that is interesting.
I do have a Masters towel, but the piece of resistance is the ultimate holy grail of the Masters, and that is a signed 2019 Tiger Woods Master Champion flag. Look at that. Those are hard to get.
They are, and for our
Hard
viewers
to
out
get.
there, I can personally attest to the validity of that signature and that flag. I know how it was acquired. And Bill was very gracious and purchased that flag, and 100% of that money went to a local charity in Gainesville, Florida, and it is the real deal, the real signature. And if you notice, Tiger Woods' signature is in the middle of that flag,
Oops.
and the reason why is if you can only sign the middle of that flag if you won the Masters. If you didn't win the Masters, you
Then you're
can't
out
sign the
here.
middle of that flag.
That's Tiger's signature right there.
Hey, well, Bill, before we go though, you had an encounter with Tiger Woods at the Masters. Tell us
Well,
about that.
I've actually had a couple of encounters with Tiger, but one at the Masters, and I can't remember exactly what year it was, but off the first tee, he kind of hit it into the pine trees to the left, and it actually hit my foot. And that was the first time I was close to Tiger. Boy, he's tall. Standing right next to me. Wasn't happy about his ball, though. But I have seen Tiger a couple other times because my son is, for example, was in the last year junior amateur championship in
Oh, that's
Texas.
right.
And
Just for our viewers out there, just like you come from. You don't come from. You are the golf family. You
yes,
created
we
this
are.
golf family. Your daughter Ellie's a PGA golf professional, but your
Yes,
son
he is.
Will played in the USGA Junior
Amateur
qualified and played in
championship,
the
right?
National USGA Junior Championship.
Yep. And he's probably played about 4 or 5 rounds now where Charlie's been there. And my wife almost bumped into Tiger Woods. She didn't even know who he was at the time when he ran into her because he's wearing his big glasses. And we know why he's wearing his glasses now, don't we?
Oh, stop it! Stop it! We wish Tiger all the best.
We do
To
wish
make sure.
Tiger the best. We wish
Yes, we
Tiger the
do.
best.
Yes, we do. Okay, well, that's great. Well,
But yes,
Bill, I've thoroughly enjoyed seeing your swag collection, and so with that, everybody on the T Florida is mic'd up, and a special shout out to Sea Dog Brewery. They're the
there we
ones
go.
who sponsor on the T Florida is mic'd up. Wonderful place down there in Treasure Island. Highly recommended. An owner named Charlie Breakiron, and then the big owner Fred Forsley, who has a brewery called Shipyard Brewery, which is a big national brewery. Hey, won an award for like one of the best IPAs in England, which is really the Americans are just going overseas and taking over the beer industry. So with
Can't
that,
wait to try that.
absolutely. So with that, you've been listening to On the T Florida's Mic'd Up. Until next week, just remember, always carry an umbrella in case it starts to rain. Take care, everybody.
Woohoo!